Okay,
All
let's.
good? Ready when you are?
Yes, I'm ready. So let's get started. So we are going to talk about society and culture. And again, I'll walk you through 12 statements. You will need, we are going to change the task. So last time you were a French person. Uh, Now you're going to represent England. And you will need to tell me to what degree the sentences, the statements describe your country. This,
Right. So,
Mhm.
hang on, just to be clear, a scale of how much the statements describe
You don't
England.
need to rate, so you don't need to give me any score. Just to tell me whether it is true or not.
Okay, true or not true for England. Got it.
Exactly, yeah.
Lay the first statement on me.
Okay. The people are incredibly welcoming because hospitality is central to the culture.
Hmm. That's a stretch, honestly. We're polite, yeah, but incredibly welcoming feels a bit strong. It depends where you are, I suppose. London's pretty international. People are busy. You get a different vibe in the north, maybe, but even then, it's not like open arms straight away, you know? Too strong a statement, yeah.
Okay, so and when we use this phrase to be central to something, what do we mean by that?
When something is central to a culture, it means it's a really important part of how things work, a core value. Like family is central to a lot of cultures. It's a defining feature. It's not just something people do, it shapes how they think and behave. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Right. Okay. And the next one. It's quite male dominated. Women still face a lot of discrimination in the workplace.
That's complicated. Officially, things are pretty equal. The law's definitely on the side of equal pay and opportunity. But a lot of old attitudes still hang around, you know? It's not blatant discrimination as much as subtle biases, glass ceilings, and all that. It's getting better slowly, but yeah, there's still a way to go. So I'd say not entirely untrue.
So when you say that there's still way to go, do you mean that there is still a lot of improvements to be done in this aspect?
Exactly. A way to go means there's still a lot of progress to be made. Like, we haven't reached the point where it's genuinely equal yet. Lots of room for improvement, basically.
And England is still not the best, maybe example of equality between
Yeah,
salaries of men and women.
definitely. The pay gap still exists, although it's shrinking. It's not massive, but it's noticeable. It's a bit frustrating, honestly.
Can you mention any country in the world where we can see the opposite situation, where women play bigger role in social life, in politics, in economics than men?
And that's a tricky one. Iceland comes to mind. They're pretty far ahead on gender equality across the board. Rwanda also has a very high
Wait,
percentage of women.
Rwanda? Do you think that in Rwanda women play bigger role than men in politics, in economics?
Okay, you're right to question that. I was a bit quick there. Rwanda has a really high representation of women in parliament, amongst the highest in the world, but I shouldn't have said they play a bigger role overall than men in economics. That's not really accurate. It's more about political representation being very strong. Sorry about that. My mistake.
No, that's fine. You are free to, you know, to say, to speak your mind. So you are free to make mistakes, to tell me what you think. It's just, it's, uh, it's fine. And so when we have this term, male dominated, Does it mean that there is another term like female dominated? Does it exist?
It does exist, but it's way less common. You'll hear female dominated used sometimes, usually to describe specific professions like nursing or primary school teaching, but it's rarely used to describe a whole society or sector. Male dominated carries a lot more historical weight and implies a power imbalance, whereas female dominated just usually means there's a higher proportion of women doing that job. Does that make sense? It just feels a bit.
Sure, sure, it does. So,
Next statement?
okay, it's still quite conservative. If you don't conform, life can be hard.
That's tricky. England isn't exactly known for being radical, right? There's a lot of tradition. But quite conservative feels a bit broad. But depends what you mean by conform. If you mean like sticking to social norms, then yeah, there's definitely pressure to fit in. But if you mean politically, things are pretty divided these days. So I'd say selectively conservative. It's not a free for all, but you can get away with being a bit different generally.
Yeah, I guess that it refers to social life because we don't talk about politics. Our topic is society and culture. So
Right. Yeah,
yeah, it's implied that when we analyze whether it's whether you need to conform or you don't need to do that in England, we mean society, right? So just
okay, gotcha. Socially, yeah, there's definitely an expectation to conform to certain unwritten rules, especially outside of major cities. Ready for the next one?
yes,
Okay.
right.
Go on.
And by the way,
Okay.
wait, just one more question. So in England, you don't really need to conform to stick to the social rules. You can be different. You can be yourself. You can just keep your own maybe lifestyle. And but if we think about countries where you need to conform, where you need to blend in, to fit in, so which countries come to your mind?
Oh, right away, Japan springs to mind. There's a huge emphasis on social harmony and avoiding causing trouble. Standing out too much is frowned upon. Korea, too, to a certain extent. And a lot of places in the Middle East have very strict social codes you need to adhere to. It's not about being yourself as much as maintaining order and respect. Okay,
Respect,
back to
respect to what? To uh, traditions, to local customs, to what? Respect to uh, local social life, to religion, or what exactly do you mean?
good question. It's a combination, really. Respect for elders is huge. Respect for tradition and hierarchy. Respect for religious norms, even if you don't share
Okay,
them.
yeah,
And
okay,
definitely
I get
respect
it.
for social.
Okay, so now tell me the country in the world where there is the least pressure on you, where you
Least,
can be, yeah, where you can be just yourself, where you don't really need to conform.
hmm, that's tough. Probably somewhere in Scandinavia, like Denmark or Sweden. They really value individualism and authenticity. There's a lot of emphasis on being true to yourself and not worrying too much about what others think. It's not perfect, but it's probably as close as you'll get.
Okay,
All right, next
those are,
statement.
yeah, good examples. So, uh, number
What's the next?
four, yeah, it's a multi-faith society. No one religion holds sway.
That's pretty accurate. England is definitely multi-faith now. There's a large Muslim population, growing Hindu and Sikh communities, and lots of people who aren't religious at all. The Church of England is still the established church, but it doesn't really hold sway over people's lives the way it used to. It's more ceremonial now.
But what does it mean to hold sway?
To hold sway means to have power or influence, like to be able to control how people think or behave. In the past, the church had a lot of sway over laws, morals, everything. Now it doesn't really. Its influence is much reduced.
But but is there any official religion in England?
The Church of England is the established church, which means it's officially recognized by the state. The monarch is the supreme governor of the Church of England, but that doesn't mean everyone's Anglican or even religious. It's more a historical and constitutional thing than a reflection of what people actually believe.
Okay, right.
Ready for the
So
next one?
yes, I am. There's a lot of bureaucratic red tape. You need a permit or ID card for everything.
Yeah, that's annoyingly true. Honestly, the bureaucracy can be a nightmare. Everything needs paperwork, forms, stamps, and they do love ID cards. It's not as bad as some places, but it's definitely a pain. So, yes, a lot of red tape, unnecessary, complicated rules and processes.
Can you give a definition of red tape? What is that?
Red tape refers to excessive bureaucracy or complicated procedures. Basically, it's when you have to deal with a lot of pointless rules and paperwork to get something done. It gets the name from the historical practice of using red tape to bind official documents. It's a pain, basically.
Okay. So, and talking about ID cards, for example, if you need to travel abroad, can you use your domestic passport? Or there are two types of passports, one for domestic use and another one for traveling.
You only need one passport. Your standard passport is for international travel. You don't have separate ones for domestic and international use. You might need other forms of ID for domestic flights or proof of age, but you only need one passport. Confusing, I know, but yeah, one passport does it all.
So, and speaking of types of ID for domestic use, what are they?
For domestic use, a driving license is pretty standard, and a national insurance card. Some places might accept a university ID card, but it depends. It's never quite as reliable as a passport or driving license, though.
Okay. And
Next statement.
yes, number six, it's very family centered. Most people's social life revolves around their extended family.
Hmm. I'd say that's less true now than it used to be. It definitely varies. A lot of people have close relationships with their extended family, but it's not necessarily the center of their social lives. More and more people are building their own chosen families, you know? Friends are often just as important, if not more so, than relatives. So, not entirely false, but definitely not universally true.
Is it common for teenagers when they are become adults and when they don't have maybe enough income, financial income, is it common for them to stay in their parents' house to live with their parents?
Yeah, increasingly so. It become really common, actually. House prices are insane and wages haven't kept up. A lot of young people just can't afford to move out until they're well into their 20s or even 30s. It's not necessarily seen as a bad thing anymore either, more like a practical necessity.
Okay. I guess that's common not just for England, for maybe almost all the countries in the world.
You're probably right. It's a global trend, definitely. But it's particularly noticeable in England because of those high housing costs.
Right. So it's a matter of your financial ability to rent your own property, your own apartment.
Precise.
Okay, let's move on. Number 7. It's
Go
basically a
ahead.
very secular society, and people have lost touch with their traditions.
And that's partly true. England's definitely become more secular. Religion doesn't play as big a role in public life as it used to. But to say people have lost touch with traditions feels a bit strong. We still have a lot of traditions. Christmas, Guy Fawkes Night, Remembrance Day, they're still widely celebrated. It's not like traditions have disappeared, they've just evolved, I'd say.
And so you've mentioned that the King of England is the head of English Church,
The
right?
Supreme Governor, yeah.
Yeah.
Governor, yes.
So, and
Is he a religion?
well, yeah,
What about?
actually, yeah. Is he a religious person?
That's a good question. He's the Supreme Governor of the Church of England, so he's expected to be Anglican, and he's publicly spoken about his faith. But whether he's deeply religious in a personal sense, that's harder to say. He attends church services and makes speeches about faith, but it's a bit of a ceremonial role as well. It's hard to know for sure what he truly believes.
But I'm asking that because if the supreme, let's say, leader of the country is the head of the, he's also the governor of the church. Does it mean that the church is not separated from the state?
That's the crux of it, isn't it? It's a bit of a gray area. Officially, there's a separation of church and state, but the monarch's role complicates things. It's not a full separation like you see in the US, where there's a very clear wall between religion and government. It's more of an established partnership. The church has a certain amount of influence, but the state isn't entirely dictated by religious rules. It's a compromise. Confusing, right?
So, okay, so it's quite confusing, yeah. But can we call England a secular state, a secular country?
You could, but with a caveat. It's secular in that religion doesn't dominate lawmaking or public policy. But that established church thing throws a bit of a spanner in the works, doesn't it? Most people would say it's mostly secular, but not fully. It's a weird hybrid, really.
Okay. So when we mean that, so when we use secular, when we call some country a secular state, what exactly do we mean by that?
We mean the government doesn't favor any particular religion. Laws are based on reason and evidence, not religious doctrine. Religious institutions don't have direct control over the state. Citizens are free to practice any religion, or no religion at all, without interference from the government. Essentially, it's about keeping religion and politics separate.
Can you give one example of a secular country and another one of a non-secular?
Sure, France is a really good example of a fully secular country. Laïcité is a core principle of the French Republic. They have a very strong separation of church and state. On the other hand, Iran is a clear example of a non-secular state. Islam is the official religion, and Islamic law plays a significant role in the legal system.
Okay, that's a great example. These are great examples. So now let's move on. We are finished with these confusing uh, thing about England, right? So England is a hybrid, as I understood. It's not clearly a secular state, nor is it a non-secular?
Exactly. It's a bit of both. A soft secular state, if that makes sense. It leans towards secularism, but with those historical links to the Church of England, complicating things. Hybrid is a good way to put it.
Okay. Number 8. It's a very liberal society. People don't like to interfere. It's very much live and let live.
That's largely true. There's a strong emphasis on personal freedom and tolerance. People generally don't like to tell others what to do or judge their choices. Live and let live is definitely a common attitude. It's not a super moralizing society. And although, like with everything, it's not universal, you'll always get exceptions. But generally, yeah, pretty liberal.
And what does that phrase mean? Live and let live.
Live and let live means to allow people to live their lives as they choose, even if you don't agree with their choices. It's about tolerance and not interfering in other people's affairs. Basically, mind your own business. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's a pretty common saying.
sure.
Okay, next statement. Go
Okay,
on.
number 9. Life can be quite difficult, but people generally have a very positive outlook.
Um, that's surprisingly accurate. Life can be really stressful, especially with the cost of living, the weather, and of everything else. But Brits have a weird knack for maintaining a sense of humor and staying optimistic, even when things are tough. It's a sort of national characteristic, I think, stiff upper lip and all that. So, yeah, that rings true.
And outlook is
Outlook means someone's general attitude or their way of looking at things. Like a positive outlook means they're generally optimistic, even when things are hard. It's about their mindset, really.
okay, perfect. And the next one is a bit tricky. Class is a big thing. People are very aware of your background, and there is not much social mobility.
Uh, yeah. That's the tricky one. Class is complicated in England. It's not as rigid as it used to be, but it definitely still exists, and people are very aware of it. Mm, there's a lot of subtle cues, accent, education, where you live, that give away your background. And sadly, social mobility is still quite limited. It's harder to move up the social ladder than it should be, unfortunately. So, yeah, there's truth to that statement.
Can
It's a
they
bit
just,
uncomfortable.
yeah, wait, just to clarify. So you've mentioned accent. So can people just tell you or tell your, can they just identify your, I don't know, just region by your accent? Or can they uh, get some idea
Oh,
about your education by your accent, by the way you talk?
absolutely. Accents are a huge marker of class and region. Someone with a very posh received pronunciation accent is likely to have been privately educated and come from a wealthy background, whereas someone with a strong regional accent might be perceived as working class. It's unfair, and people try not to judge, but it happens subconsciously all the time. Your accent gives away a lot about your upbringing, unfortunately.
And how much does that affect your chances, your opportunities in life? I mean, your background. So, uh, are your, I don't know, opportunities limited by your background, or actually doesn't affect your, I don't know, career, your, uh, so when it comes to, getting a job, does it matter where you come
It
from, your level of education, your social status?
Sadly, it absolutely still matters. There's been a lot of effort to make things fairer, but unconscious bias is a real thing. People from privileged backgrounds often have more connections, better education, and a certain confidence that opens doors for them. It's not a hard and fast rule, and hard work can overcome a lot, but your background definitely influences your opportunities. It's getting better, slowly, but it's still a factor.
Yeah,
It's a bit
that's
depressing,
great.
really.
Okay. Right. So, and number 11, there's quite a lot of banter. Friends will often take the mickey out of each other.
Oh, absolutely. Banter is huge. We love a bit of playful teasing, taking the mickey. That means making fun of someone good-naturedly. It's a way of showing affection, actually. It can be a bit brutal sometimes, but it's rarely meant seriously. It's a key part of British social interaction. If someone's not taking the mickey out of you, they probably don't like you that much.
Wow, that's surprising. And what is banter in general? What is that?
Banter is just playful and friendly teasing. It's quick, witty back and forth conversation where you're basically lightly making fun of each other.
Can
It's
you
not,
just, since you are British, can you take the mickey out of me right now?
oh gosh. Okay. All right. Hmm. You're very thorough, aren't you? Always asking for clarifications and definitions. It's impressive, but a little intense. No offense. Just a bit of banter. How's that?
No, that's just try one more time. Just
Okay, okay. You spend a lot of time preparing for lessons, don't you? It's like, calm down, it's just teaching English. Are you sure you're not overthinking things a little? Still no offense, though. That's just how we show affection. It's a whole thing.
right. Yeah, that's a bit better, but still, it's very, how to say, trivial.
Trivial? Right.
Trivial, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry, I'm still getting the hang of this banter thing,
Right.
apparently.
Okay. So, but
It's meant,
it's clear. I mean, taking the mickey out of somebody means that you're just, I mean, in a good way, you try to kind of tease that person or just to make fun of that person, but you don't intend to insult, to offend that person, right?
exactly. It's about playful ribbing, not malicious insults. It's a way of bonding, really. It's meant to be lighthearted. If it feels like actual bullying, it's not banter. It's just being mean.
Yeah, that's okay. So that's a very clear distinction. Right. Now I get it. And the last one, people are quite reserved. It can be hard to know how they are really feeling.
Yeah, that's very true. Brits are famous for their emotional reserve. We don't tend to wear our hearts on our sleeves. We're good at keeping a stiff upper lip, as they say. It can be hard to tell if someone is genuinely happy, sad, angry, or just being polite. It takes a while to break through that reserve, but once you do, people can be incredibly loyal and supportive. It's just, we don't show it all up front, you know? But yeah, we're not the most openly emotional bunch. Oh, and just a heads up, we're coming up on